Hello, guys. Uh, I'm Lena. First of all, probably know that if you're watching this, but any case, I got tagged in the language tag question meme thingy by Polyglot Ed a little bit ago, and I decided I would give answering them in a video a try. Um, it might be a dare, and I'm trying to win here. I'm not saying it is, but it very well might be. So yeah, I made myself a little cheat sheet in case I forget which languages I actually speak, and it's up there. So if I ever look quite frantically and desperate, and kind of seem to look up, then that's what's happening. I forgot what languages I speak. And if there's a massive black spider crawling around in the background, then that's alright too. Nobody tell me. I'm staying in this quite old house at the moment. Like the queen of the spiders apparently lives in my bedroom, and as soon as I'm done with this, I will try to, I don't know, get rid of it somehow, or possibly switch bedrooms with someone. But yeah, if that happened, then I might just freak out. But yeah, let's get to the questions. Beth, what do you consider to be a native language? German and English, definitely. I'm kind of self-conscious about that because I realize that I do not really sound like a native speaker in either of them, and that's got something to do with how awkward the circumstances were in which I first learned them, I reckon. Um, so sometimes I will just say that my native language is one of them, and usually the one that I'm not currently speaking, so that people don't ask about that. But yeah, it's German and English. I wasn't sure if it was going to do this in English or German, and I might still decide to just switch it around at some point. So if there's one question that I answer in German, then yeah, don't worry about that. It's probably not important. Nothing I say is important, come to think of it. Yeah, German and English. Second question. What was your first language learning experience? I had a lot of nannies growing up, and most of them did not speak German or English that well, so I often was yelled at in foreign languages because I was not a very kind of nice child, which means that to this day I can still tell you to sit down and shut up and possibly clean up your mess in a lot of languages that I didn't actually study, but learned. So it turns out that being yelled at by angry women is a very sort of motivational way of learning a new language. But other than that, it was at school. I first started learning Latin when I was 11, and yeah, that very much stuck with me. And I'm still very into dead languages and grammar translation type language learning, and I really enjoy that. So that was a very positive experience for me. Third, what languages have you studied and why did you start them? That's where my cheat sheet probably comes in. I am just gonna talk about the ones that I actually studied for any extended period of time and still know stuff about, because otherwise it's gonna sound like I'm super awesome at languages and I'm really not that. So yeah, I did Latin at school, I did ancient Greek at school, and I did Spanish at school. And I started them because it was school and you do languages there basically, and I very much enjoyed language classes. Not that I didn't enjoy science classes, just yeah, but I enjoyed school in general. Then after school I did Asante Twi because I was staying in Ghana for a year, and that was the first time that I actually learned a language outside of the school setting, and it was quite scary and very interesting, and I really enjoyed that in a way, but it was also really scary for me. But yeah, that was nice. And then after that, I did Swedish at uni and Russian at uni. Russian actually dropped after a couple of months, but I still mention it because I'm still hoping to pick it back up. I just didn't have the time last term, and it was quite sad. And then I did Sanskrit and Old Norse and Old English and Old High German, which I all count because I just really enjoy dead languages. and those are my favorites, with Latin, obviously. Next question. How does your personality affect how you learn languages? I'm not a very talky person. Hello, talky video person. So I will not actively seek out speaking opportunities in my target languages, and I know that it's because I'm quite shy and I don't enjoy making mistakes. I'm not sure if anybody ever enjoyed making a mistake, probably not, but I really don't, and so I make my life quite a lot harder than it has to be, because I tell myself that I can learn a language just by doing a lot of grammar and writing and reading and listening, and obviously that's not an ideal way to be learning a language, because you're missing out on a quarter of the learning experience if you don't talk. And so I have to force myself to talk a lot more than I would like, and I'm working on that, and hopefully that will mean that I won't be stuck with dead languages forever, but actually get anywhere with the modern ones as well. That's the idea, at least. Fifth, do you prefer learning languages in a class or individually? In a class. A lot more. It's just that I'm not very good at self-motivating, so I need someone to tell me to do my homework or they will fail me, and that really helps me. And I do sometimes find that classes, especially beginner classes, move a lot slower than what I would like, because you get stuck in a language and you just want to move along, and then you're drudging kind of through the greetings and stuff like that. But I find that for me, I just learn more than the class kind of requires at times when I'm very motivated, and then just drudge along when I'm not very motivated, and it averages out and it kind of works out for me, usually, so far at least. What are your favorite language learning materials? I'm probably going to do this in German, actually, because most of them are German. So meine Lieblingsmaterialien sind die Bücher von Langenscheidt normalerweise. Die machen auch Schulsprachbücher und Erwachsenenkurse, und ich mag die wirklich gerne, und ich kann mit deren Grafiken gut arbeiten, und ich mag die Tabellen. Ich mag die Pons-Grammatiken und die Hyper-Kurse, deswegen nehme ich normalerweise auch deutsche Kurse statt englischen, obwohl die englischen einfacher zu kriegen sind und meistens auch günstiger. Aber ja, ich mag sie einfach wirklich gerne. Die kleinen gelben Langenscheidt Bücherchen, Dictionaries, sind unglaublich süß, und ja. Other than that, FSI language courses online are awesome, especially if you just want to have a look at a language and see if maybe you want to learn that. And I find that that's really helpful for me to see if it's worth buying the actual materials for. And they're really good courses. They're not all that I would need to actually learn a language, but they're definitely awesome for the basics. My all-time favorite materials, though, at the moment are the Swedish Let Less books. They're kind of easy reading books that are native books dumbed down to learner levels. They all have this sort of thingy on them. I hope you could read that. It's a Swedish flag. It says Let Less on them. And it's not going to be any use to you if you're not studying Swedish, but it's really awesome because you can read a crime novel in A2 language, and if that's not hilarious, then I don't know what is. And you're not stuck with children's books for a couple of years at the beginning of your language learning journey, which I think is kind of common, because native materials are just really depressing. For me personally, I end up crying in a corner because of how much I don't understand. And yeah, these are awesome. And this tiny little booklet is 3 crime novels. So I think you can probably imagine how funny that gets. 7. How much time do you spend actively learning per day? An hour? Maybe? probably less than an hour. I tend to just do vocab revision every day, and then I get kind of stuck in with 1 or 2 really long sessions of grammar once or twice a week. And yeah, that's it for me. I'm a really lazy person, and the less I can get away with, the less I will do. I like to tell myself that I do a lot of passive stuff. So I read a lot, and for most of my languages, that's passive. And I listen to music and TV stuff and radio for Latin. So I tell myself that that's probably enough, even though I know that it's not, and I could move a lot faster. But yeah, it's just a question of how motivated I am, and I know that I would rather do it this way than get kind of tired and bored, and I know that's going to happen if I actually do as much as I would like to. That sounds like an excuse, isn't it? It probably is. I'm just really lazy. What are your short-term and long-term language learning goals? Short-term, I have this Hebrew class coming up, and it's a kind of 6-week intensive biblical Hebrew studying marathon. So it starts in about 2 weeks and then goes till the beginning of October. I'm really scared because, like I said, I'm just really lazy, and I do about an hour studying a day, and this is going to be 7.5 hours of classes, just in Hebrew every day, and I'm just really worried. But hopefully I will pass that. That's my short-term goal, not fail miserably at ancient Hebrew. Long-term, I need to learn French. I want to leave uni reasonably fluent in Swedish, because I'm looking at master's programs in Scandinavia and Sweden, obviously. Yeah, pick up Russian. I'm kind of flirting with Korean at the moment, even though my timetable for next term is already looking like a disaster zone, and I really just don't have time. But that might be another one to add. So basically just French and Swedish, and maybe pick up 1 or 2 other languages before I leave uni. That would be really neat. What is your favorite language? It's Latin. It's not even a question for me. It's definitely Latin. I feel a bit bad now because Ed said in his video that he couldn't possibly pick one. Yeah, it's Latin. I'm sorry, all the other languages. It's not that Latin is any more interesting or easier or nicer or better or more logical or whatever Latin teachers will tell you. It's just that it was my first proper school language, and I really liked that at the time, and I still really like it. So yeah. What is the next best language you want to learn? What's the next question you want to learn? Yeah, I'm starting to forget how to talk. Well, Biblical Hebrew is the next one, and then French. Although French is not so much a want to learn as a have to learn, which is ironic because I almost literally want to learn about 600 different languages, and French is kind of the only big one that I'm just not very interested in. But yeah, it's starting to get embarrassing, so I need to learn it. And the last one, what advice can you give new language learners? Talk a lot and study a lot, and essentially do everything that I don't do. I would say, is that a good advice? Maybe not. From what I can tell teaching languages is that you just need to, if you're at the beginning of your studies, you just need to get stuck in and brute force memorize stuff. There's just no reason or benefit or anything in trying to question why something has a gender or something it works this way or that way, or why grammar is structured in this or that way. Especially if it's a new language and you're not a very, very experienced language learner and it's like your 8th Germanic language. Just study stuff and learn it by heart and get over it. And you're doing yourself a lot of favors in that, I think. That would be my one advice. So if you want logic and reason, maybe try maths or something. Languages just don't work the way. So yeah, that was my video. I'm starting to look a bit emo, so I'll go away now.